Welcome. This is the critical reading tutorial to get you ready for your critical reading assignment. And the most important thing that you need to do for this assignment, right here, the skeptical hat. That's right. Put on your skeptic's hat when you get ready to read these things. This is mine. You'll get one of these one day soon, but you don't have one yet. Too bad. Okay, I want to start you out with a passage from the IPCC report. This is the report on global climate change. This is chapter 10 from that report. And there was a passage, we'll scroll down to it quickly here, about the melting of the Himalayan glaciers. You might remember this. This was in the, there it is. This was in the popular press a couple of years back, and really brought a lot of criticism on the IPCC for making these statements. Let's take a look at what they say. And let's take a look at the evidence, because we're reading critically. All right, so they're saying here, glaciers in the Himalaya are receding faster than in any other part of the world. And if the present rate continues, the likelihood of them disappearing by the year 2035, and perhaps sooner, is very high. Okay, if the Earth keeps warming at the current rate, and we know that it probably is going to increase in rate. So there's a heck of a statement there. Its total area will likely shrink from the present 500,000 square kilometers to 100,000 by the year 2035. So that's a little different there right away. We have something disappearing by 2035 and then something going down to 80% of that. So maybe they're exaggerating here, and that's not good in scientific literature. You need to say it straight. And look at the reference. The reference is the World Wildlife Fund, a 2005 article by the World Wildlife Fund. This is a charitable organization, not a scientific organization. So again, you know, my radar has to be up at this passage here. And I read a little bit further, and I find out that there's one glacier they use as an example here, 30 kilometers long, and you know, it's been receding alarmingly in recent years. So let's take a look at it. So we turn the page. Maybe try to find evidence if the statement is true. So here it is. Here's the Gangotri Glacier. It's retreating back this way. Started here in 1780. Here is in 2001. And of course, it took, you know, from 1780 to 1971 to go that far, and then it went a pretty good chunk here from 71 to 2001. Okay, so here's 1 kilometer. So it looks like the whole distance is probably about 2 kilometers based on that, and it's maybe a little less than a kilometer in the last 30 years. So it does seem like it's speeding up. So let's take a look at the data in the table, though, and see if this makes sense. Again, these glaciers are supposed to disappear by the year 2035, which is really just about 23 years from now. And so the rates reported in this table, let's take the high rate of 28 meters per year retreat times 30 years. I'm going to be generous here. That would be another kilometer. If it keeps melting at that rate, it would go back another kilometer. It's 30 kilometers long. It would still be 29 kilometers long by 2035 if this continues. And even if you're off by double, it's still 28 kilometers long. So it looks like it's going to be around a lot longer. Also, another point to bring in, you know, what is your background in this? I'm kind of a climate junkie, so I read about this stuff. And I know that the Little Ice Age ended about 1750. Okay, maybe 1800, depends on who you read. The Little Ice Age was an abnormally cold period that lasted for a couple hundred years. And so here was the end of the Little Ice Age over here. And then all the way up to about 1935, well, guess what? There wasn't that much more CO2 in the atmosphere at that point. It was really from the 30s, 40s, 50s on where CO2 has increased its greatest amount. So why would, you know, how can we explain this amount of retreat in the glacier when there really isn't any more CO2 in the atmosphere? It doesn't make any sense. And let me apologize for the phone ringing there, but anyway, so you get an idea. You're thinking with a skeptic's hat on, you're trying to see if the text makes sense with some of the other data presented.